Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. Super excited for this video. We've come all the way to, I guess this is Davis, California. Davis,
Yep.
A Davis address. Okay.
Northern California, about halfway between San Francisco and Sacramento.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So this is Dig, Plant, Water, Repeats YouTube channel. This is Janey Santos. For those of you who haven't seen her channel yet, they've moved to a new property that we're going to talk about this morning. You want to introduce yourself? I probably just did too much.
You did a great job.
Okay.
So I'm Janey. I have a gardening channel. I learned gardening from Jim over here a couple years ago and just became obsessed and started filming myself, and then it just kind of went crazy.
Yeah.
I lived in a neighborhood with my family in town, and we were on 0.17 acres, and I filled it up, and so we had to move to a bigger property.
Right, yeah.
You did the opposite, right?
I did the exact opposite. We went from about this, I went from about this size property down to 0.19.
Yeah.
You've gone from 0.17 to...
I can't imagine going backwards,
Right.
but you know, I guess it can be done. So we wanted some more space. We wanted some more room. We wanted some more, do you want me to keep going with that? Okay. We wanted some more space. We wanted some more room, and I just wanted more planting space. You know, kind of room to stretch out a little bit. Yeah. So just shy of 3 months ago, we moved into this property, and it was literally nothing. Not only was it nothing, but then there was some bad stuff. There were some palm trees, and you know. And yes, we live in California, but we don't live in the part of California where palm trees are meant to be, and so you know, we had to come in, we had to fix a couple things, so we're starting from scratch basically.
Nice. And that's what we're going to talk about here. So this is a garden that's getting underway, and we're going to talk about the steps, maybe some of the steps that are even more important because you're in California zone 9B and you get seasonal rainfall.
Yes.
So there ain't no chance of getting rain for some period of time during the year, and then it may flood the other part.
Absolutely. Yeah. So they say we have hot, dry summers and cold, wet winters. And when they say cold, it's cold. I think the coldest we get down to on average is about 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Right. So we don't freeze here, you know, but we do get a ton of rain. So there's a constant battle of flooding during the winter, but the rest of the year we have to irrigate. I mean, honestly, I irrigate almost all year long. Right. Honestly.
So that's what we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Couple things real quick. We'll have some traffic passing by, and that's life. And this is YouTube, not you know.
A studio.
Yeah, studio. Yes. Tell folks about why you're on this thing.
So I was cleaning up the garden. I stepped on a tiny little rock and then caught myself with my other foot and broke my foot and had to have basically emergency surgery. Right. So I'm on this for 6 weeks. I'm trying to get around. I got this all-terrain scooter, which is kind of cool. Right? So if you all watch my channel for about the next 5 weeks, my husband will be digging a lot of the holes for me. So.
Yes, well, this was an elaborate way to have him do the work.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Standing right there.
Right. And it's a miracle. It's scary.
And the doctors are in on it too.
Yeah. So okay, it's real. So water, as you were mentioning, water is going to be more important to you than almost any other channel. Yeah. You've got a pile of compost behind you. This is from your local municipality?
This is from a landscape supply.
Okay, gotcha.
Our local municipality does supply compost. Yeah. Actually, certain months of the year, they supply it for free.
Gotcha.
You just got to go scoop it yourself, and we don't have a truck yet.
Right, and okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so right now it's just easier to get it delivered to us, right? But it's pretty easy to get our hands on this stuff.
You've got wood chips in the back garden, and it's something we've talked about a lot on my channel over the years. Is where did those wood chips come from?
So those wood chips actually came from here, this property. Good. We took down, like I said, I was talking about the palm trees. We took down the palm trees because they just were not meant to be here, and then a couple other trees. When the arborist was chopping them up, I asked him to drop the chips, and then I took them and I used them as as mulch, as ground cover, and that's my plan for. I've actually contacted them and said, anytime you're driving by, please drop some off because I need them.
Right? Yeah, for sure. And that's I think that if anybody watches the Back to Eden gardening at all, Paul's the reason he did the deep wood chip method was he was in East Washington and his well had very little water.
Yeah.
So he was, that's the reason everybody uses them is because of a space similar to this, where he can now, on a very small amount of water, grow lots of things. Lots of things. And it's back to Eden gardening if you've never seen any of those videos. But that was kind of a space similar to yours. And so between the combo, so how are you starting this thing?
So coming out here, I assume the soil was terrible, right? Because it hadn't been touched. You could tell it hadn't been touched in years. There was layers of landscape fabric upon layers upon layers. And so we just started kind of pulling it off. There were some spots where there wasn't any landscape fabric, but I decided, I went through the Master Gardeners program. And one thing I really like about the Master Gardeners program is they don't tell you the right way to do things the right way. They just give you all the information and then let you make your own decision. And so they gave us all the information on the no-till method, no-dig method, and mulching and all that kind of stuff. And so I decided that in this property, that's what I wanted to do. So basically, ripping up all the landscape fabric or whatever else they
was it in little bits and pieces and everything?
It was such a mess. Over here in this bed over here, they have chicken feed bags just laid on top of each other. Over there in that garden, they had huge sheets of plastic, like hard plastic. Like it's I don't know. It's just the most interesting gardening techniques. And and here in this bed, there's little scraps everywhere. That's kind of been the hardest thing, is getting all that junk out. And then I'm actually using cardboard, which I know there's other things that you can use, like the newspaper and stuff like that. But the easiest thing for me to get my hands on was rolls of cardboard, laying those out, and then doing a couple inches of compost. And my goal is over time to improve my soil quality. And honestly, doing it this way, everything I've planted thus far is really happy, which I'm actually shocked. I thought it was going to be in shock or something, but it's been pretty good.
So you put soil first.
So yes.
Main thing.
Yeah.
Getting it back to, getting the plastic up and then getting some sort of layers down. And in that meantime, you can do the plant, some of your plant planting and that kind of thing. You can take that moment.
Soil first, irrigation second.
So you said second is irrigation, but beyond that is also picking plants.
Picking the right plants.
Picking the right plants, for sure.
So, as a newer gardener, I was trying to pick the plants that I thought were the right plant, what I would see on YouTube and everything like that. And I realized how hard it was for me to keep those plants happy, if not alive. And so then I started, we're really lucky here in Davis. We have the college, UC Davis, and there's a fantastic arboretum. And, there's a whole bunch of gardens there. They call it Valley-wise. We live in the Valley of California, Central Valley, but really it's California-wise plants, which are all heat tolerant and drought tolerant. And, you just go to your local arboretum and then you can get so much inspiration for what plants are going to thrive in your garden and be easy to take care of. So this whole garden behind me, I call my orchard because I inherited some beautiful fruit trees. I have a lime, I have a fig, a pomegranate, and 2 oranges. And then I decided to plant everything else in what I call Best for the West garden. And it's just California-wise plants that are heat tolerant and are drought tolerant. And I'm really excited to get this garden up and going because I think it's a way that we can show people, you don't have to plant an English cottage garden. You can plant a California garden that's going to be beautiful and it will stay alive when we have no water and my well runs dry or anything like that.
Well, that's key. I'm glad. I'm glad. I mean, I'm happy to be here partly because of that, because you're thinking about this, in a bigger picture rather than just my YouTube channel would be better if I had these blue hydrangeas or whatever, okay. So
my garden won't look very pretty with blue hydrangeas. One, because I can't get them blue.
So you brought in somebody to help with planning, or you?
So I ended up, I was in a garden tour we have in my town, we have a garden tour, and I was in it, and then another gentleman was in it, and his name is Michael Glassman. He was on HGTV. He had a garden show on HGTV, and he's a fantastic landscape designer. And so we just became friends, and he offered to help me design my garden, and he he really focused on the planning and the design, and he left the plant choices to me, which I really appreciated. So it was like it was a great collaboration, but you can see these flags out here. We're marking out the pathways, and we're gonna put some decomposed granite and some metal edging, and I'm just so excited, you know, like I have to hold myself back because I just want to do everything right away.
Right,
but
yeah.
Of course, time, effort, ability, budget, you know, so we kind of gotta slow down a little bit, but you know, you can kind of see what we're going for here.
Right, and that's one of the things I talk about on the channel. It's not a race.
Yeah.
You don't have to win, you know, you're not.
Yeah.
And I would have people come into my garden center and they'd buy 43-gallon plants on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And I'd just be thinking, you're going to hate this so much by Sunday.
Half
by
of
Monday.
them will probably die. Yeah.
I mean, I was happy to take their money, but again, I think if they'd have bought 3 each weekend over the course of a spring, they could have enjoyed it.
That's really good advice.
Yeah, really, and had a good time with it. Developed, you know, it's just not a race.
Gotten to know each plant and understood each plant and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
How do you go about laying them out? Do you go stick them in the ground immediately, or do you move them about?
I'm a pretty quick decision maker.
Right.
I don't think too much about it. I think probably because I know I can move it, and I know I am going to move it, right?
Right.
I'm that kind of gardener where I'll do something, and then a year later I'll decide, I don't think I really like that, and then I'll change it. And that's kind of what I love about gardening, is that each season is a new chance to kind of see what else you can, and like your gardens, like you said, it's never done. Yeah. So there's no race for it. So I'll just come out here and I'll just I'll say, oh, I think that salvia will look good there, or I think that Helen von Stein Lambsy will look good there, and I just throw it in with knowing that it doesn't have to stay there.
Right, yeah. They're just chess pieces. By putting this path in, and this is something I would encourage folks to think about, by putting this path back in here, number one, it makes people have to kind of go back there and see in the future what's going on back there.
Yep.
And number two, creating these bed edges. The more edges you have, the more layered heights you can have.
Yeah. And I'm actually really excited for spring. I love color and I love annuals, and I'm just like, I just love them so much. And and it's not fair because I live in zone 9B, and so a lot of annuals are actually perennials for me. So I'm so excited for the spring when all the annuals will come out, and then I get to start putting those layers in this garden. I think it's really going to come alive in the spring.
Nice.
And then, I want to encourage you to walk back there because, I'm also thinking about, as you come around this beautiful fig tree, what you're going to see when you get back there on the pathway, and, different views and all that kind of stuff. I want this garden to be like a journey, and you actually have to walk through it. Kind of like, you have a garden tour and you're walking someone through the garden tour, That's kind of how I want this garden to feel.
Yes.
So
well, you can do a garden tour here. We had a Master Gardener group come to the house in Raleigh and realized that we probably have about a 50-person limit.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people there, and they literally all walked into the back garden at the same time and then got stuck.
Oh no!
On whatever the spot where they were on the path they were, it's like, I gotta need some arrows one way on the path.
Have them file in,
right? Yeah. 20 at a time in the back garden.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it.
That's great that you had people there. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Oh no. And we invite people there because I'm hoping at the end of the day, again, I have a version of garden that, from a place where you can get regular rainfall.
Yeah.
You have a version, so hopefully we can invite people into our spaces and show them the things that they can do
the
in their area.
beauty of each region.
Right.
I think that's something that gets really lost in YouTube, unfortunately, is because people all across the world watch us, right?
Yeah.
Watch people on YouTube. And so you look at someone's garden and you think, oh, my garden has to look like that.
Right.
And it doesn't, right? There's beauty in drought tolerant plants. You just have to know which ones to pick and know which ones will catch your eye. And not everything has to be hydrangeas and boxwoods, you know what I mean? So
let's talk about what's next.
Okay. So I'm having a really hard time staying on track because I get really excited about something and it's like, oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do that. So I think I really got to focus on the trees, right?
Right.
I got to focus on getting
I was going to ask that question.
Yeah. So, just right before you showed up, I was looking up cedars, seeing if it was in stock, and and all that kind of stuff. So we're also on the other side of the garden. We're going to plant a huge kind of tree hedge over there.
Gotcha.
My property that I moved out of in town, I had just started planting the big stuff, the trees and stuff like that. So it's always hard to plant something and then know it's going to take 20 years to take full effect and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But
just, you wake up one day and it happened.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, look at that, and I can still drive by that property and appreciate it.
Right.
So so I think next is trees, and then getting the pathways in and stuff like that. I'm going to focus on the front yard.
Are you concentrating on just ornamental trees, or are you going to put a shade tree in somewhere?
Mostly, I mean, mostly ornamental. I did plant a weeping willow tree, which is not the right type of tree for my climate, but I just couldn't help myself. I wanted one.
But I see them around here. Obviously, some that aren't being irrigated. I mean, so
they actually grow like in the ditches and stuff like that. You can see them.
Right.
I have a beautiful Chinese pistache shade tree in my backyard that I'm obsessed with. I love it so much. Yes. And that is, in this area, that's probably one of the best shade trees that you can have because it has, big, beautiful, dense foliage in the summer to shade, and then it drops everything in the winter,
So you get to at the winter sun.
Yeah, yeah.
It's got great fall color too.
I know, it's starting to turn. I'm so excited about it. So so that's a big thing I want to work on next is pathways and trees, and then with some planting in the meantime because I can't help myself. So
right. But you started with soil, and then again you can just pace yourself through this. How long had you been in the old property?
About 3 years.
Okay, so you've done a lot in short order.
When we moved in there, all the hardscape was done.
Right.
So it was the perfect beginner gardening property. So I really just had to focus on the plants, and I could really get to know the plants and get to know my climate and all that kind of stuff. And I just, I loved that garden. I had so much fun in that garden. Right. And I would still be there today if it was just a little bit bigger, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So it was a really, really fun area that I could have the shrubs, I could have the trees, but then I could also have room for annuals that were my favorite. I had this big swoop in the front where I could change out the annuals every season, which was, I loved.
Are you doing anything from seed?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha,
lots.
Gotcha.
I like doing cut flowers. I love cut flowers, and then I'm going to do some vegetables. I'm trying to up my vegetable game. I'm not the best veggie gardener, but
well, it's the same, and I tell people this frequently. If I didn't have rabbits, my vegetables would just be in my ornamental garden.
Right. Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's two things. We only have one little sunny spot that's really sunny all day long.
Yeah.
Because we're in a woodland neighborhood, really. Yeah. And then the rabbits. I have to hoard everything. You have rabbits?
We have rabbits too.
Yeah, rabbits and squirrels. You have squirrels too.
I have squirrels.
Rabbits and squirrels. Doesn't matter where you go. That's part of gardening. Gardening is fighting rabbits and squirrels.
Yeah, yeah.
And deer for some people.
Yeah, no, we do not have deer. That's the one thing that I have relief on is I don't have deer.
Right. But they just eat it faster. It's the same. They just eat it faster.
When in the backyard, I ended up getting these raised garden beds that were actually 32 inches tall. And the reason why I got them that tall, not only are they easy, I don't have to bend over, but to protect from the rabbits.
Right.
So it's, maybe eventually I'll convert over and be able to do my veggie garden in those tall ones, but we'll see. You know what I mean? This is also a new property, so I got to get used to it and got to see how bad.
Yeah, and you're going to move things around. You just have fun with it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Thank you so much. You got to get to the East Coast at some point and see.
I would love to.
Yeah,
I would love to.
And see Raleigh.
I will definitely take you up on that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for watching, and definitely I have Janey's channel linked down below, if I can speak. Hold on. And I have Janey's channel linked down below. Definitely go over there and follow this process. It's always fun to see new projects.
Yeah.
I kind of miss our project being a new project.
Your project was fun to watch. It was.
Well, thank you. And we're going to be rearranging some things this season, and then we may move on to some other project.
Fun.
It's within the realm of possibility because it's just, I think it's fun. It's fun for me. It's fun for us. It's fun for the audience too to see something new and something approachable.
Yeah.
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 Thanks for watching.